Have you ever sat in a room full of people and still felt like you were disappearing? Not in some poetic, dramatic way, but in a quiet, exhausting erosion of yourself. Like something inside you keeps slipping through the cracks. No matter how hard you try to hold it together, you wake up tired, you go to sleep wired, your body's moving, your mouth smiling, your inbox is full, and yet you feel nothing. Or worse, you feel everything at once. Here's the truth no one wants to say out loud. Something in you is dying while you're still alive, and the world keeps applauding your ability to function. Maybe you've tried all the usual tricks: meditation, advice from well-meaning friends, numbing the pain with distraction or a tight smile. But the ache doesn't leave. It follows you, quiet, persistent, heavy. And you've started to wonder if this is just how it is now. But I'm going to tell you something that might sting. Most of the pain you're dragging around doesn't come from what the world did to you. It comes from what you've done to yourself without even knowing it. The avoidance, the silence, the way you've abandoned who you really are to become who you thought you had to be. Carl Jung once said, "What you do not bring to consciousness comes back as fate." Let that sink in, because that's not philosophy, that's a warning. Your life keeps repeating patterns because you keep refusing to see yourself. You're not cursed, you're just not listening. You drown it all out with busy schedules, toxic relationships, performance mode. You tell yourself, "I'm fine," but you're not fine. You're fractured, and every piece of you that's been hidden, rejected, or silenced is now screaming in the only language it has left: pain. This isn't another motivational video. I'm not here to tell you to love yourself or think positive. That's surface-level nonsense. I'm here to push you, to challenge the image you've built and ask you to meet the self you buried. Maybe right now you're smiling on the outside and unraveling inside. Maybe you've become excellent at surviving, but completely disconnected from living. Or maybe you're just numb. You don't even know what you feel anymore. You've been walking around with a version of yourself that's been edited, filtered, and shaped for acceptance. And in that process, you left yourself behind. It's not your fault, but it is your responsibility. The pain isn't a punishment, it's a message, a brutal, unrelenting message. Come back to yourself. You suffer so deeply because you've wandered so far from who you really are. You've conformed, adjusted, compromised. You've played roles: good kid, perfect partner, high achiever, peacekeeper. You've learned to silence your rage, smile through heartbreak, rationalize abuse, accept less, and call it maturity. But your soul knows when it's living a lie, and it starts sounding the alarm. Insomnia, anxiety, unexplained sadness, burnout, apathy. These aren't flaws, they're signals. And the more you ignore them, the louder they get. It's not failure that breaks you. It's the fake life you built trying to avoid it. It's not loneliness that cuts you. It's the loss of connection to your own truth. Every time you abandon yourself to be accepted, you teach your mind that love must be earned through self-betrayal, and that is the foundation of suffering. Not the pain of others, not the chaos of the world, the pain of lying to yourself for so long that you forgot what honesty even feels like. And here's the terrifying part. This suffering will keep looping until you decide to stop pretending, until you get raw, honest, and silent enough to hear what's actually happening inside you. Pain doesn't want to destroy you. It wants to wake you up. Jung didn't believe suffering was random. He believed it was a process, a deep, necessary confrontation with your unlived life. The parts of you that were buried alive are clawing their way back to the surface. They don't want revenge. They want reintegration. If you keep trying to fix the pain by changing your job, your partner, your wardrobe, or your productivity app, you're missing the point. Those are symptoms. This is soul work, and it starts with one decision: to stop running. Are you ready to stop being afraid of your own darkness? Because that's what's next. You're going to meet your shadow. Not the scary version Hollywood makes up, but the one Jung described, the rejected self, the side of you filled with everything you were told wasn't acceptable, the anger you buried, the desires you denied, the envy you disguised as humility, the sadness you tried to outachieve. And if you think you don't have a shadow, it just means it's in full control of your life. That rage you can't explain, the panic that hits out of nowhere, that coldness that ruins relationships you swore you cared about, that's your shadow acting out. And it will keep showing up in disguise until you look it straight in the eye. Here's what no one tells you. The shadow isn't evil. It's just unheard. It's unloved. It's you, on mute. And every time you suppress it, it finds a louder way to speak. That's why healing hurts, because it asks you to look at the exact things you've spent your whole life avoiding. Facing your shadow means admitting uncomfortable truths, that sometimes you manipulate, that sometimes you sabotage what's good, that sometimes you crave things you were told were shameful, that sometimes you're not as kind, as selfless, or as innocent as you claim to be. But what if that didn't make you broken? What if that made you whole? The work isn't to kill the shadow, it's to understand it, to bring it back into your conscious awareness so it doesn't have to hijack your life in the dark. Because what you repress owns you. What you face, you reclaim. Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. That's not poetic. That's reality. You think you're choosing your life, but if your shadow is in control, you're just reacting to old wounds on autopilot. The same arguments, the same fears, the same relationships over and over in different clothes. So what do you do now? You stop pretending you don't know. You stop waiting to feel ready. You start listening to the signals. The stomach drop when you say yes but mean no. The exhaustion that hits when you lie to keep the peace. The ache in your chest after another "I'm fine." That's anything but. The body is wise. It speaks when the mind tries to forget. And here's something you won't hear in most psychology books. Pain is a GPS. It points to where you abandoned yourself, and it won't stop until you come back. In the next part, I'll walk you through how to actually work with the shadow, not just understand it intellectually. We'll talk about courage, the kind that doesn't look dramatic on the outside but transforms everything on the inside. The kind that says, I'm not running anymore. Stay with me. You've already started something you can't undo. And that's a good thing. Now that you've seen the shadow, what do you do with it? Understanding is step one. But real healing, that's in the action. The uncomfortable, often invisible action. The kind that doesn't get applause, but changes everything. And this is where most people turn back. Because it's one thing to realize your pain has a message. It's another thing entirely to sit down and actually listen. So here's where the real work begins. First, you stop trying to fix yourself like you're broken. You're not a glitch. You're not defective. You're a system overloaded with truths you've never had permission to process. And now it's time to clear the static. Sit in silence. No music, no phone, just you. And pay attention to the first thing that rises. That strange memory, that lump in your throat, that whisper in your gut that says something isn't right. That's the door. Walk through it, then write. Not for clarity, not for Instagram, but like your life depends on it. Write the things you'd never say out loud. Write the feelings you swore didn't matter. Write until your hand hurts and your mask starts to slip. Because when you confess your truth to yourself, even if it's ugly, even if it's messy, it loses its power to control you in the dark. This is not romantic. It's not aesthetic. It's raw. It's sweaty. It's real. And if you want support, and let's be honest, we all do, find someone who can hold space without fixing you. That might be a therapist. That might be a mentor. But make sure it's someone who doesn't flinch when you show them your shadow. Someone who doesn't reach for comfort when what you need is truth. Because here's the reality. No one can save you from your own shadow, but someone can walk beside you as you face it. Remember what Jung said, the unconscious isn't garbage, it's intelligence. It holds the stories you never finished, the wounds you never cleaned, the power you locked away. The job now is to bring it back into your hands. And that doesn't happen in a weekend. It happens in the daily decision to stop running. Start noticing the tiny betrayals. The smile you force when your chest is tight. The "it's okay" when you're actually furious. The way you shrink yourself to avoid confrontation. Each one is a small cut, and they add up, until you're walking around bleeding, wondering why life hurts so much. But here's what no one told you. You're allowed to be whole. You're allowed to be angry and still be good. You're allowed to be scared and still move forward. You're allowed to have darkness and still be full of light. You are not a performance. You are not a role. You are not a brand or a label or a perfect aesthetic. You are something far messier, far more real. And if you can accept that, you unlock a kind of freedom that can't be taken from you. This is where transformation begins. You'll start to notice it in the subtlest ways. You'll say no without guilt. You'll walk away without explaining yourself. You'll stop begging people to love you the way you can now love yourself. You'll feel grief and won't run. You'll feel joy and won't sabotage it. And for the first time, maybe ever, you'll feel safe inside your own body. That doesn't mean life stops hurting. It means the pain has context. It means you're no longer a slave to every emotional wave. You don't flinch every time discomfort shows up, because now you know pain isn't an enemy, it's a doorway, and you've already started to walk through it. So what's on the other side? It's not perfection, it's not bliss, it's not becoming someone new, it's becoming real. You start seeing people differently. You're no longer fooled by surface charm or thrown off by chaos. You sense when someone's still hiding from themselves, and you choose not to join them there. You love deeper, but need less. You listen more, but tolerate less noise. You create boundaries not to punish others, but to protect the fragile wholeness you're rebuilding. That's the power of integration. You stop being addicted to fixing yourself and start being committed to knowing yourself. Even the rough parts, especially the rough parts. You stop chasing healing like it's a finish line. You start living it as a process, every day, with presence, with honesty, with guts. You realize finally that your pain was not a curse. It was a compass, and it brought you here. But this isn't the end, because healing isn't just for you. At some point, the question becomes, now that you've walked through your own fire, what will you do with your light? That's the step no one talks about, the responsibility that comes after the breakthrough. This isn't about becoming a guru or a savior. It's about showing up in a world full of sleepwalkers as someone who's actually awake. It's about breaking generational silence. It's about refusing to pass on the same emotional hand-me-downs. It's about saying, the pain stops with me, not because you're a hero, but because you were brave enough to feel what others were too afraid to face. That's your real power, not perfection, not a healed aesthetic, but presence, responsibility, awareness, the courage to no longer abandon yourself, no matter how tempting the escape. And yeah, the world may not reward you for this kind of transformation. There's no trophy for emotional honesty, no viral fame for crying in the dark and choosing to stay. But you'll know. You'll know because you'll wake up and your chest will feel quiet. You'll have conversations and not second-guess every word. You'll walk into a room and feel your full weight unapologetically. You'll know because you'll stop looking for someone else to fix what was never broken, just buried. And in that knowing, a new life begins. One that's not built on avoiding pain, but on understanding it. One that doesn't try to outrun the shadow, but walks beside it. One that is finally fully yours. So now the question isn't, why do I suffer? The question is, what will I do with this pain now that I understand it? Because once you know the truth, pretending not to is its own kind of suffering. If you're ready to take this deeper, there's more. We keep going. In the next video, we'll break open the real meaning of individuation, how to move from healing to purpose, from waking up to showing up. But before you go, pause for a second, breathe, and ask yourself, what part of me did I just reclaim? What shadow stopped hiding? What pain finally made sense? Write it down, share it if you want, let it land. Because when you speak truth, you lock it in. And if this video didn't just speak to you, but shook you, I want you to remember this. You are not lost. You are returning, one truth at a time. See you in the next one.